baseball tonight as you get a look at the banners, the championship flags here in St. Louis. And tonight it's game number 2 between the Philadelphia Phillies and the St. Louis Cardinals. Welcome to the Champions Club. I'm Dan McLaughlin. In just a moment, we'll hear from Rick Horton. And now it's my partner, Al Rabosky. Can you tell we're at the Champions Club tonight?
Well, I can tell we're at the Champions Club because this is where everyone wants to be. The cool people are in here. And I literally mean that because you can enjoy the air conditioning inside, but you also have an assigned seat outside to watch a game. And, of course, during the game, you've got a great buffet, an open bar. It's all-inclusive here at the Champions Club. But we got the best fans in baseball. The problem is we got a bad dancer, Fredbird.
Go ahead and see Fredbird. He's having a little fun. He's going to be having fun with these folks here tonight. And, Al, we talk about it during the telecast. This truly is one of the great places of Busch Stadium.
No doubt about it. It is our personal favorite. When we're not working, you can always find us in the Champions Club.
That's Al Rabosky. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Lots of Cardinal fans here tonight. You'll see it throughout our telecast. It's the Champions Club here at Busch Stadium. Up next, Rick Horton visits with Dan Farrell, the Cardinals, and baseball coming up tonight on Fox Sports Midwest.
Champions Club, Busch Stadium, St. Louis, Missouri. Game 2 of a 3-game series with the Phillies right around the corner. And we're visiting with the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing with the Cardinals, longtime friend, I must say, over 25 years, Dan Farrell. And Dan, this is a special night here, again, getting a chance to show off this Champions Club.
Well, it is. We really appreciate you guys relocating from the broadcast level and enjoying the game down here with the fans. It helps us promote the area, and the Champions Club has just been really a very, very popular location. It has a great atmosphere. It is, as of now, our #1 selling all-inclusive area.
What do you think is really the key to this? I mean, clearly fans love it. People love having the game right outside here, and of course there are a lot of great things with the ambiance here. But what do you think is what is making this such a popular place?
It really is the interior atmosphere. I think the seat location is down the left field line. It's not a premium viewing location, but the fact that you have a club, it's got all the amenities, your food and beverage is included, including beer and drinks, and it really just adds a special element. If you want to have an upscale night, you want to know what your price point is going into it, the Champions Club, it's a perfect opportunity.
And Dan, while we have you, if anybody knows about upcoming tickets, it would be you. So let me give you a chance to talk about some of the games that are coming up.
Well, the main series, we're trying to give people a heads up. There's a lot of good tickets available for the weekend series with Toronto. Ticket prices are down in as low as $10 for Sunday's game, $20 for Friday and Saturday. So there's great prices, and the weather's looking like it's going to be great. This weekend should be a fun weekend.
And that's Dan Farrell. He's guaranteeing wins on all these games as well in this upcoming homestand. We'll be back with more from the Champions Club after this.
The Marines are taking the Gateway City by air, land, and sea. Come meet your Marines at Marine Week St. Louis, June 20th through the 26th. For full schedule of events, please go to marines.mil/Marine Week schedule. Kyle Loesch and the Cardinals playing in Game 2 against the Phillies. And it comes your way next on your home of the Cardinals and from the Champions Club right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the just right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. Be showing you those shots throughout the evening and hopefully enticing you to buy some tickets to the Champions Club. And a few minutes ago, injured Marine, a veteran, back in St. Louis throwing out our ceremonial first pitch, and both teams top step of the dugout. Everybody here at Busch Stadium with a standing ovation.
A lot of attention on that moment. Very special moment here at the ballpark, and we're going to have a lot of special moments. Cardinals, of course, Dan, trying to forget some of the not-so-special moments in the 8th inning of last night's game.
Oh, the 8th inning was the story. Ooh. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Here's a look at the lineup for the Phillies. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Rollins, Victorino, and Utley. Then Howard, Polanco, Francisco, Brown, Ruiz, and Lee. Kyle Loesch gets the start for the Redbirds. Here's a look at his scouting report.
Yeah, here's the scouting report on Kyle. Not as sharp in the month of June. Last 3 outings, he's given up 4 runs. He hasn't been bad. He just hasn't been as good as he was the first month. Off-speed command, very important to him. His changeup and his slider, 2 spots. And a large strike zone, to me, helps out Kyle Loesch. He likes to pick at the corners. We'll see if he gets one from the home plate umpire, Marty Foster.
Cardinals have made a move this afternoon. Miguel Batista was released, and Lance Lynn has been called up. He'll work out of the bullpen. This is brought to you by Dobbs with Holiday, Jay, and Brown in the outfield. Descalso, Terrio, Cosma, and Berkman along the infield. Loesch and Molina, the battery. Never easy, I'm sure, for Tony La Russa, no matter who it is. Young player, veteran, to say goodbye to a guy that broke camp. But numbers do not lie. Batista struggled, and he is no longer with the team.
Had some good moments, but unfortunately not many of them lately. And I think the bullpen needs to be shaken up a bit, and it was.
And there's a base hit into center field to start this game, and that's off the bat of Jimmy Rollins.
Jimmy Rollins, very good switch hitter. There's the location we're talking about. That's up in the zone, and good start for the Phillies.
Plaza Tire Foxmo that may have just been off the glove of Pete Kozma. But it's a leadoff hit for Rollins, and it brings in Shane Victorino. Another big crowd here tonight for the Phils and Cardinals. Cardinals starting play just a half game back of Milwaukee. That was at the start of play today, and Milwaukee did lose earlier, so right now they are tied up. We are broadcasting from the Champions Club. That's a look at our view. You see the folks here that have gathered at the Champions Club. And on a hot day, we could tell you this is one of the best places to be because of the fact that it's very cool inside.
Well, Al talked about that in the open, but it's absolutely true, Dan. Inside there, it's just so comfortable, and you get the feel of the game. Plus, you kind of get the sports bar atmosphere, and you've got the Cardinal memorabilia inside there. It really is, and of course, the good food. It's really a great place to watch a ball game and do it with your friends.
Just told there's a few season ticket holders inside the Champions Club, and one of their favorite things to do is to get there early. And they'll check out the early East Coast games. They've got flat screen TVs. It's liquor and beer inside. There's a look at Dante. Dante there in the purple shirt. Looks like he could beat up anybody here at the ballpark, and he runs the Champions Club.
Well, I arm wrestled him earlier and beat him, but
yeah, I could tell.
Just don't let him know that I said that.
Very nice guy.
Yeah, they have a staff of 13 here that does a great job every night and very good service.
Out there, and at second, that's a double play. Nicely done by Lance Berkman. Some nifty footwork over at first base, and they get the double play.
Never an easy play. The 3-6 double play actually does a little jump throw. And right on the money. Got to try to avoid Rollins somehow with the throw. Ball barely fair. Knows he's got to get rid of it in a hurry. Nice job by Terrio as well to dig it and then get the tag down.
Now Chase Utley with Howard, then Polanco on deck. Talking with Lance Berkman. Natural throw from the left side. Natural right-handed hitter. One of those odd combinations growing up. But he said at the age of 5, his dad turned him into a switch hitter, at least to work on it. They dropped a tire from a tree in their backyard, and Lance Berkman would switch hit. 50 swings left, 50 swings right. And he said that his dad heard from a scout, that's how you generate some power. There's a fly ball into shallow right, put away by Andrew Brown. Good start for Kyle Loesch. We're at the Champions Club here tonight. from South Texas. They're big fans of the band Reckless Kelly, and they found their way here to the Champions Club. And Dad is busy because he's trying to keep the girls occupied, so he just got them turning into cheerleaders.
Exactly.
That'll keep them occupied for about a half inning, and then Dad's got to go find something else.
He'll be all right.
That is true. Here is Ryan Theriot. Ryan Theriot is hitting .299 with 1 home run and 24 RBIs. 0 for 3 last night with a ribby. The crazy thing about last night was that the game was really entertaining. It was a heck of a ball game up until the 8th inning.
It was outstanding. I mean, it went from great to terrible with a flip of a switch, and Kyle McClellan had an outstanding start. Unfortunately, the bullpen just could not follow suit. It was actually only the second time since 1966 where the Phillies scored 10 or more runs without an extra base hit.
Amazing.
So it was walks, hit by pitch, just a long inning, but a great outing for McClellan.
And that is taken high by Ryan Theriot. And this is the lineup that Cliff Lee will face. Theriot has walked now John Jay, then Holiday, Berkman, Molina, and Brown, Descalso, Loesch, and Cosma. The scouting report here on Cliff Lee.
Fastball's in the low 90s, but it looks quicker. He's very sneaky. Pitches very well inside. And again, despite that leadoff walk, outstanding control. He walked 6 in his last outing here, but that is a tremendous aberration. He is just a control guy. Normally walks 1 guy every 2 starts.
Yeah, they really couldn't figure out what his issue was in the last start, but the one conclusion that they did come up with was that the strike zone was very tight. And going back and looking at some of the tape of that game, clearly it was. Now that's a ball that's 6 in a row thrown by Cliff Lee. But you have to wonder, Rick, if that's in the back of his mind a little bit. And they also have talked about away from Citizens Bank Park.
Not as good.
Yeah, Cliff Lee has struggled.
He really has. And I'm sure he's thinking about that somewhat. Uh-oh, not again. I don't want to go through 6 walks. And honestly, when you start thinking about walks is when you start doing it. Cardinals yesterday, as we see ball 3, ran into that same problem. You got walk after walk, and you start trying not to walk somebody, and mentally that's not a good place to be.
Well, the Cardinals had the Phillies on the ropes last night. Roy Halladay out of the game, and he still was pitching very well. And then the 8th inning implosion, and game 1 goes to the Phillies. A 3-0 pitch, and there it is, the first strike of the night for Cliff Lee. And that was borderline at best. The 3-1 pitch, little check swing, that may have been a ball too.
Talk, Dan, about him being sneaky quick. Very smooth delivery, long arm action. Very smooth, and the ball just jumps out of his hand.
Last night, the Cardinals blew their major league leading 15th save of the season. And this is a double play ball. Out at second, safe at first. John Jay hustling down the line, and it brings in Holiday. The defense for the Phillies presented by Dobbs. Francisco, Victorino, and Brown in the outfield. Polanco, Rollins, Utley, and Howard on the infield. And our battery is Cliff Lee and Carlos Ruiz.
John Jay hustling. Beats the throw to first. Jimmy Rollins, strong arm at short. Close play, might have been out.
Here's left fielder Matt Holiday.
Cliff Lee is shaky here in inning 1. You have to take advantage of that.
So many times, Rick, you see a guy of this caliber, one bad inning, and then they settle in, and the rest is history.
Absolutely. John Jay probably could have walked. One close call, then a check swing on a pitch up in the zone. And so you hate to see him start easing into getting away with things. Even that pitch there to Holiday was probably up.
Flat screen TVs inside the Champions Club. It's sold out here tonight. And a ground ball. They'll try it again. Out there. 6-4-3 on the double play. 1 inning in the books, and there's no score. In St. Louis, and right behind that family, the carving stations. The kids having some fun here tonight, along with Rick Horton, Al Raboski, Jim Hayes. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and glad that you're with us. And outside the Champions Club, so you go inside, you grab yourself a meal, cool off, and then inside moves to outside.
380 available seats every night, and they're often sold out. It's, again, a very popular area, and it's all inclusive. And if you've not done it, try it once. See what you think.
Talked about it last night. Here's Ryan Howard, but they knocked down a number of walls to create the big, spacious atmosphere inside. Walk around and have a chance to go watch other games or just relax inside. A number of tables and couches are set up. Used to be private boxes, and then they knocked down those walls, and there's a look at how spacious the Champions Club is. 1-1 pitch to Howard. Take it for a strike on the outside corner.
Talked about one of the keys for Loesch being command of his off-speed pitches. He threw a good changeup early in the count to Howard to get ahead. Let's see if he tries to finish him off with another one.
And a ground ball that Berkman will take for the first out. Some of the food inside here at the Champions Club. Uh-oh.
I had
camera.
I had the Caesar salad and turkey. So there's a lot of different choices there. You can go with the chips and the nachos if you're feeling kind of okay with that.
Hot dogs, hamburgers.
Got that size. You also got
baseball fare that you might see.
Or you can have something a little bit more upscale. Great stuff.
Polanco was 0 for 3 last night, and it's good to see is get a look at our view that Polanco is playing tonight. Remember, he was hit by a pitch, and it took him a while to run down to first, touch the bag, and then exit the ball game. But there he is back in there tonight. And what's it say, Rick, about Polanco in this lineup to have him hitting behind Ryan Howard? Typically, we're talking about more of a protective power hitter, but Polanco's the guy that's hitting behind Howard in this lineup.
Well, we saw him here in St. Louis. We saw how valuable a guy he is to have on a team because he's a gap hitter, can drive in runs, gives you good at-bats every time, doesn't strike out very often. But you're right, that's a key spot in this order. I think they would want at some point Dominic Brown to be that guy, but he's not quite ready for that yet. there's some pressure that comes from being in that 5th spot. You better produce. Polanco really not worried about pressure at this stage of his career.
And Polanco, a guy with not many holes in his swing. And you saw that last night. The Cardinals in 1 at bat pitched them all in. Later, they pitched him away. Then we saw him go back. I mean, this is a guy that can pull it, spray it. We saw that when he was in St. Louis.
What you say about him in the team meeting, he's a guy you can't stay one way with.
Right.
That's the summary. Some guys you say hard stuff up and in, soft stuff down the way. You might say can't hit the curveball. With him, you just say got to mix it up.
Charlie Manuel loves him. This team has taken to Charlie Manuel, even when he's had benchings of star players. They say, you know what, I deserved it. In the air to center field. Line drive is caught. John Jay. Remember a few years ago, Jimmy Rollins showed up late, right? And he was benched, and this was after his MVP season. And the players will tell you there's just a couple of rules that you need to follow with Charlie Manuel. Be on time and hustle. That's all he asks.
Sounds like the old Whitey Herzog rules. You know, when you keep it simple like that, now there's a lot of corollaries to those rules. I mean, what does hustling mean? I mean, there's some preparation that's involved in that, but Charlie has a very simple approach to this game, and he has been a winner in a couple of different places now. He's a winner with the Indians and now with the Phillies.
And how about Jack McKeon, another guy that is old school. Hanley Ramirez, his star shortstop, showed up a little late to a meeting. Doesn't play that night. Pretty simple. Personally, I love it. I think it's the way it's supposed to be done.
Agreed.
Oh, look at this play by Descalso. Oh, what a play. Robs Francisco of an extra base hit. Daniel Descalso, the backhanded stab. And the strong throw to Berkman at first, midway through 2. And there's no score. Move to the bottom of the second here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and a Toyota keys to the game.
Yeah, this is from the May 16th start that Cliff Lee had against the Cardinals prior and since 6 starts, 5-1, low earned run average. And look at the run support, over 5 runs a game the Phillies have given them. Their lineup is back, Dan. At that time, a lot of guys were missing in this Phillies lineup, and they're back strong again.
Not just a normal fan on the left. That's how he decided to come to the game.
How about the chef coming out to meet the people? I like that.
Berkman, high drive, center field. Victorino on the track to make the catch. And in these seats in our position, we got a good look at that. Almost carried out of here.
A lot of different perspectives at the ballpark. One of the things I like about being up here, Dan, is we get to see the game from a different angle, and you can see the speed a little bit differently from here. And I always think that fans, when they have the opportunity, should try to find a different place maybe every time they come to the game, just to see it from a different angle. You'll pick up things you wouldn't pick up otherwise, and for us, I think we can really see how quick the ball gets to home plate from the pitcher from where we are here.
Phil Nichols is helping us in our pseudo booth up here. Here's a ground ball, left side, base hit. Phil Nichols, his camera, maybe if he can pan to the left, and you'll see a real good shot if he's able to get there of the warning track, and it does give you an idea. That's a pretty big area.
Oh, my.
You've got a good full speed 2 or 3 steps before you hit the wall, and normal perspective with our camera shots does not allow you to see that.
Just how deep that is. That's
exactly.
Right. And how much of an area an outfielder has to cover.
And I think that's something that we see here in particular with the center fielder, Shane Victorino. He's just about at the top of the arch, if you will, in the grass in center field, but to his left and his right, there is an awful lot of ground to cover here at Busch Stadium.
And you mentioned the warning track. From that view, from the high home camera, looks like it might be a couple of feet
exactly
in depth, but it's not.
And there it is from our vantage point. One thing I noticed too, when we sit here, the speed of the game.
Oh yeah.
You and I get so accustomed to being behind home plate, that vantage point, and not that your eyes deceive you, but you get used to certain things when you watch a game. From watching it right here, number one, I can see the ball moving very well with Cliff Lee, that downward movement.
Absolutely.
And it's just nothing stays at the same plane, pitch after pitch.
I think you get a better view of what bat speed is all about too.
Yes.
Although when you take a pitch, we don't see it, but when you let it go, I think we see just how violently some of these swings are.
Jack Buck Celebrity Night with the Stars. Buy tickets now for the Jack Buck Celebrity Night with the Stars. And Tony La Russa to dinner and sports auction Sunday, June 26th. That'll be at the MAC. All proceeds help Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club. It keeps kids off the streets. 382-5952, extension 234 to buy your tickets. And the other thing we saw was the play by Descalso. Closest position player for us is the left fielder. And then after that, probably your third baseman, but a great play by Daniel to Rob Ben Francisco.
And from our angle too, Dan, we can see just how long the throw is for a shortstop. We saw Jimmy Rollins make a couple of plays deep in the hole here last night, and he has a tremendous arm, but when he goes to his right and he's fielding a ball in deep short, that's a long way to first base. Better have a good arm.
Runner goes, and it's a foul tip. That was Molina running from first base. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and Jimmy Rollins is the kind of guy that will show off that arm. And look at this big breaking ball. Ball went off the home plate umpire's hand, Marty Foster. I asked Lance Berkman, I said, what was your welcome to the big leagues moment? This is interleague play, the Astrodome. I'll never forget it. A lefty is on the mound. First pitch to me starts in my head, finishes at my back heel. And he said, there is no chance I'm going to hit a major league curveball. And we just saw one there by Cliff Lee.
He decided that on pitch one?
Yes. He said, this is pretty tough.
Did he say if that was me? That wasn't me throwing that pitch.
You were done by then.
Yeah, I think so. I guess, I'm sorry, I was just dreaming there for a minute.
I think his first year was 97 maybe, or 98. Might have been even after that.
Nastiest curveball I ever saw from the left side was a guy named Rod Scurry, who was an okay pitcher, but his curveball broke like a Nolan Ryan curveball. It'll make you want to give up. Go do something else for a living.
Descalso with a fly ball into center, and the catch is made. Again, we're live at the Champions Club here tonight. Club is some of the memorabilia and the really neat pictures of the history of the Cardinals. The World Series trophy is here. And some of the pictures of the World Series rings throughout the years are all over the walls of the Champions Club. That last banner in 2006. We should remind everybody that close to 40,000, if not over 40,000, will be here tomorrow. And you can get field box level seats for $20, and terrace level is at $9. So field box tomorrow for $20, and terrace level only $9. Family of four can come to the ballpark for $36. Pretty good deal.
And tickets remaining also for the Toronto games. And it'll be interesting when Toronto comes in to town, Dan, to get a chance to see one of the best players, if not the best player in the American League, and Mr. Batista.
22 home runs. Matt Holliday makes the catch. Well, good start so far for Kyle Loesch.
Yeah, he's had that command we talked about and a good off-speed pitch as well. And one of the things we mentioned in the scouting report for him, Dan, is I think he's more effective when the zone is wide. I think we have a fair strike zone tonight, and I'm not sure Cliff Lee really needs that, but I think Kyle Loesch will know how to use that.
Here is Ruiz coming off a career night of 4 hits. Champions Club. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. 4 for 4 with an RBI last night for Carlos Ruiz. Rick and Al will take over for innings 4, 5, and 6. Then I'll stick around with Al 7, 8, and 9 in the postgame show coming up.
And you'll be with Al on that too, right?
We will, yep. And looking forward to that. Actually, Jim Hayes tonight. Pat Parrish does a great job with that postgame. Actually at the ballpark tonight, just enjoying it as a fan with his family. You bet.
2-2 out to left. Holiday is back near the wall, and he's got it. And from our vantage point, we can tell you he had about 2 yards away from the wall.
Also had a sense by watching Holiday, he knew he was tracking it the whole way. And there again, the depth of the warning track that we can tell from out here. Ball got in on Ruiz a bit and gave it a ride, but not enough.
And here is Cliff Lee. Lee is hitting .242, no home runs, and he's driven in 3. Surprised the baseball world this offseason when Cliff Lee decided not to become a Yankee, not to stay with the Rangers, but surprisingly re-signed with the Philadelphia Phillies. One-two pitch. Lee taps it foul. Memorabilia, and look at the different logos throughout the years. And those are some of the matchups that the Cardinals had in World Series play with those logos at the time. Lee pops it up. Descalso will give chase with room. Yeah, oh, he almost came up with it. Tough play for Daniel Descalso near that side wall, and he almost came up with it.
Nice effort by Descalso. Actually should have caught that ball. It hit off his glove, but he went a long way to get it. Very conscious of where that railing was all the time. New life for Lee.
1-2 pitch to Cliff. Terrio, soft hands, and out at first. He makes the play with Cliff Lee hustling down the line on a hard hit ball. That was a very, very close play. On T West, not at all. Carsoup.com/Cardinals. Send us your email, the booth questions.
Where'd T West go?
There he is.
I
don't
know
miss
that
us?
They do miss. Yes, you do. Come on.
Cliff Lee back to work as we move to the bottom of the third with Kyle Loesch, the 8th place hitter. Then Pete Kozma and Ryan Theriot. Get the feeling we may be in for another pitcher's duel here tonight.
Yeah, we had an exciting first 7 innings last night. Both Halladay and McClellan lived up to their billings. They both had outstanding starts, and Loesch and Lee look like they're on their way to good starts themselves.
And the Cardinals are honored to present all military personnel, active, reserve, or retired, the National Guard and Marine Week visitors, a special ticket discount for select games in June and July. For info or to purchase the discounted seats, visit cardinals.com/military.
And Dan, we have a happy birthday to Ruth Hendrickson. She is from Fenton, Missouri. She is celebrating her 100th birthday today. Happy birthday, Ruth. And thank you for being a part of Cardinal Nation.
And an 0-2 pitch. Hit out of play by Kyle Loesch. Family of Andrew Hogan, Marine based in North Carolina, awaiting deployment to Afghanistan. His family wants to thank him for his service. They wish he was here. As you get a look at Albert Pujols talking with Yadier Molina. That's a base hit for Kyle Loesch. Off the sidewall. Played there by Francisco. And it's a leadoff double.
It's important for pitchers to be able to help themselves. We've seen some sacrifice bunts in this series not work. Now Kyle Loesch does it with the bat, pulling it right inside the bag.
That's your Hyundai Foxmo.
Now you've got to make it hurt.
So leadoff double for Loesch, and you would figure this would be a situation where Pete Kozma would be asked to bunt. Four o'clock this afternoon. Pete Kozma out early, working on his bunting. Let's see if it pays off here. If indeed Tony La Russa wants to bunt.
The other option is just let him try to hit the ball to the right side.
That rolls foul. Strike one.
Sign originates there. Ultimately received there through Jose Oquendo.
Kozma bunts that one foul. Tried the first base line, third base line, and quickly 0-2. It's little things like this, Rick, as you well know, that keep you in the big leagues.
No doubt about it. Well, he's got to be able to find a way somehow to get the ball to the right side now to get Loesch to third. Loesch, obviously an inexperienced base runner, doesn't get a chance to do it very often. Very athletic guy. But his judgment is only going to be but so good. He's going to have to rely on Oquendo. Ground ball to the right side. So Cliff Lee's going to try to throw a pitch, which is very difficult to hit to the right side. Fastball up and in.
One ball and 2 strikes. 2-2. Jimmy Rollins trying to keep Kyle Loesch close at second base. Kozma back to Lee, and they'll get the out at first.
Good base running by Kyle Loesch not to take off. Got to make sure that ball gets past the pitcher.
Take the Cardinals with you wherever you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Cardinals game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Cardinals.com to order. Get more details. MLB.tv, where baseball is everywhere. Not a very productive at bat there by Cosma, and now it's Ryan Theriot. And Theriot looks at a ball. Some of the cuisine here at the Champions Club. Also, if you're a little bit thirsty, this might be a place to come. 1 ball, 1 strike. No score as we play here in the Cardinals half of the third, and that just missed as they appeal. No, did not go. And that's a strike.
Francisco, the left fielder, and we can tell because we're right next to him, playing very deep. Surprising that he is so deep in left field. Top of the order for the Cardinals are trying to score the runner from second base. You don't have power hitters. You'd think the outfielders would be in a bit more.
This is where we're situated here at the Champions Club. Fans to our left and right. Great way to take in the game. A 3-2 pitch here to Ryan Theriot. Theriot up the middle. That's a base hit. They'll hold up Kyle Loesch, who had to do just a second or two to make sure that that got through. Theriot, a rocket up the middle.
And if Cosma is able to do his job, that's a RBI for Theriot.
Kyle Loesch safe at third, safe and secure. New York Life. Second time that Theriot has been aboard with a walk and now a single. And it brings in John Jay. That was a hard hit ball. Jay grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. Runners at first and third with 1 down, no score here in the bottom of the third. Runners scored 2 out of 8 times in this spot for John Jay. Ground ball. Polanco to second, out there, and out at first, the double play. Rick and Hungo take over in the 4th.
Stars will gather together in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 MLB All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 7 p.m. only on Fox. Broadcasting from the Champions Club, Rick Horton alongside Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin taking the next 3 innings to walk around and greet every single person here at the Champions Club. We know that Al was busy doing that in the first 3. We've got a pitcher's duel going on. You get a chance to meet some folks today?
Well, I've got a chance to meet some folks. I don't know anything what's happened in the game.
Well, it's nothing.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure it says it right there on our screen.
Well, that's why I questioned it.
Kyle Loesch and Cliff Lee battling game 2 of a 3-game series.
But once again, we get confirmation that the Champions Club, best place to watch a game from Busch Stadium. Tremendous food. You got the air conditioning if you want it. You know, you got the bar. I know Ricky will tell us all about that.
I got the last 3 innings in the bar.
Well, and that's what we were worried about. That's why we get last 3 innings for you.
Easy, Al. Jimmy Rollins singled in the first and was part of a nifty 3-6 double play turned by Lance Berkman. Rollins has hit well in this series. He's hit the Cardinals well. Very tough out. Kyle Loesch, Al, in case you've missed it since you were having so much fun, has been very good through 3 innings.
Yeah, I saw the first inning. You know, he got a little concerned with the leadoff hit, but
this ball hit.
Now I'm even more concerned.
You should be concerned. This ball is gone. Jimmy Rollins has homered to right and given the Phillies a 1-0 lead, his 7th home run of the season, and he went down to get that pitch.
Well, Ricky, we all know left-handed hitter, you know, he's a switch hitter, but from left side, even more pronounced. They're usually a low ball hitter from left side, high ball hitter from the right. You see a pretty compact motion and delivery. Little stiff front leg, gets over the top of it, and you see the downward action, but it starts up around the letters, ends up around the knee, and that is a high pitch to a low ball hitter.
Philly strike first. That brings in Shane Victorino. He bounced into that double play in the first inning. Very pesky hitter, good athlete, good center fielder. 2 switch hitters atop this lineup, Al. I think that makes them a little bit more dangerous with the bat, but they've got that kind of flexibility as he bounces out to the second baseman, Cosman.
Well, there's no doubt about it. It makes it very difficult for an opposing manager with the switch hitters there. Then, you know, you have a lot of left-handed bats in this lineup, but they're quality left-handers. Even like a Ryan Howard, the big bopper for Charlie Manuel, he hits left-handed pitching so well, he can neutralize that advantage against most people.
Look at Big Mac Land, not far from where we are sitting down the left field line here in the Champions Club.
Ricky, you know that the Phillies are not hitting as well as they should be and what they probably will. Got to get get Rollins back to where he was a couple years ago, the MVP. Getting Utley back, just psychologically, his return was a great lift to the ball club. But he's one of the best players in the game. And now he's starting to fight his way back. He had no spring training at all. And now trying to fight his way back, and he's really starting to produce of late.
.20 changeup. Think about the offense up the middle for this club. Rollins just homered, and Utley at the plate, pretty good pop up the middle.
Well, yes, you know, most people talk about up the middle, they talk about defense, and Jimmy Rollins is an outstanding defensive player. You know, Utley's more of a offensive player,
and we see some offense there,
but very few clubs can match the production you get from the Phillies double play combination. They're outstanding.
One out single the other way.
And we all know, as a pitcher, if a hitter will spray the ball to all fields, he makes it so dangerous. You can't pitch in one area. You've got to move the ball around. And you throw it away, he's good enough where he'll hit it to the opposite field. If you leave it down and in, he can turn on it and hit it out.
And we all know what this batter can do. Ryan Howard from St. Louis, Missouri, grounded out in the first facing Loesch here in the fourth. Very, very dangerous hitter. And I kind of think of him as a guy you can't really stay one way with either, Al. He has a good eye for the strike zone and power to all fields.
Well, that's very true. And what he does here in his hometown is quite remarkable.
And this ball is hit deep to left. Holiday back, but he's running out of room. Ryan Howard has gone deep to left field. And the Phillies, with their second home run of the inning, now lead 3-0.
Would you like me to leave?
Yeah. Who said you could come in here?
You know, I asked Charlie Emanuel today, I said, you even got a little tired of watching that 8th inning. He goes, no, as long as we're scoring, I could stay there all night. But here's once again what makes Ryan Howard so dangerous. These guys that you pitch them out of way, they have the ability to drive it out of the ballpark in any fashion. And this is not an abnormal swing for him. He's got great power to the opposite field. That's why he's so dangerous.
Kyle Loesch had a almost perfect first 3 innings, and the Phillies have now struck here in the fourth. Leadoff homer for Jimmy Rollins, and now a 1-out 2-run homer for Ryan Howard. He's all smiles, and it's 3-0 Phillies. Watch out. Placido Polanco, the batter, former Cardinal.
Well, Lee's, you know, their little outward smile, you always try to be a little protective of that. You don't want to show up the opposition, but obviously with his great talent, 3 is an awful lot of runs and a big mountain to climb.
One and 2 to Polanco. Jimmy Rollins said last night after the game that he believes that when the Phillies score 3 runs with their pitching staff, they ought to win every night.
Well, most teams will say 4, but they are so loaded, not only in the rotation, but in that bullpen. They're very solid. You know, another aspect that makes their bullpen so dangerous is they've thrown the fewest amount of innings. They have a 2.8 ERA. You know, the guys go out there, and when you only have to account for anywhere from 9 outs or less, you know, things kind of fall in place for that bullpen. But they consistently will go deep into a game, their starters.
2-2 pitch is hit past Pete Cosma in the right field by Polanco, going the other way. 4th hit of the inning for the Phillies.
Cosma sort of playing out of position, naturally a shortstop, and he's up here for his defense, but well placed by one of our favorites, Placido Polanco.
He's a gamer, isn't he?
Well, he's, you know, I think, Ricky, you got just underneath the glove of Pete. I think you said it the other day. If you had 8 Polancos, and then of course I think you
said Halladay.
You said Halladay or Cliff Lee, or you could take one of our guys, you know, but you said you could win because of the effort you get and the fact that they know how to play the game and play it right.
Ben Francisco, the left fielder, bats with 1 out. Ground ball to the left side. Terrio to second for 1. On to first. Double play. Loesch gets out of it, but the Phillies strike here in the top of the 4th. Cardinal fans looking for some runs. 3-0 Phillies. And we've seen some double plays in this game. Actually seen 4 of them. Lance Berkman, the first one, very nice 3-6 double play. Then the Phillies turn one of their own. And then another. This one gets John Jay with a runner aboard. And the last inning, it's Terrio to Cosma to Berkman. Cardinals batting here in the bottom of the 4th, middle of the order. It'll be Holiday, Berkman, and Molina. And as Al has said, this is a big hole the Cardinals have put themselves in when you're facing somebody as good as Cliff Lee. He is 7-5 on the season, but he has been outstanding since the Cardinals saw him in May. He has just been on fire.
Remember, he had a career high 6 walks, and this guy has tremendous command, or very good control. But you know he's outstanding. Look at the glove. He's using a Rawlings product. Only the best.
Couldn't agree more. That is homage to our good friend Ted Sizemore.
Teddy no longer with Rawlings.
I did know that. But for years ran that show, and I assume you are under contract with Rawlings. That's the glove you put in front of your face on those line drives up the middle, Al?
Absolutely. That's why I have such a, well, whatever kind of face.
I used a Pro BP model, which is the largest model you could get, and it was a Rawlings glove, and the idea was I wanted as much leather in front of my face as possible.
Actually, Ricky, I used the original fastback that Major League Baseball later deemed illegal because it was too long. It was too big. But I agree with you. I always had that philosophy. I want a glove that's very long for protection.
More smiles from the Champions Club, more Cardinals fans. Imagine Al doing something illegal. Full count to Holiday. Bounced into a double play to end the 1st inning. Lee walked his first batter. That was Ryan Terrio. No walk since. The 3-2 to Holiday is hit into right field. Deep, but not deep enough. And that's handled by Brown. Next time you want to catch a Cardinals game, head to StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals. Beautiful night here at the ballpark. Temperatures are just very comfortable, Al, and we're enjoying our time out here in the Champions Club. And a lot of folks here, it's a full house where we sit, a new vantage point for us, and just a beautiful night here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals, unfortunately, on the short end of the score right now.
Well, we knew you were going to have to score to win, so just have to do it a little harder, work a little harder to get back in this ball game.
Lance Berkman flew out to center. Late on that swing over the Cardinals dugout.
Okay, that's why last night's loss was kind of a hard one to swallow, because the very first game that you play after knowing that Albert's going to be gone 4 to 6 weeks, you're facing the best pitcher in the game. You have a lead going into the 8th inning. You really battled hard to get that. Could have been an overwhelming victory and an emotional one, and then to have it just fall apart in the 8th inning was just really hard to take.
Became a tough defeat. Certainly Lance Berkman strikes out, and it hasn't dampened the spirits out here in left field yet. Yadier Molina singled in the 2nd. Molina's average, Al, has been right around 300 for a very long time. He has been very consistent this year with the bat.
Well, if you think about it, probably about mid-April he started hitting. It's tailed down a little bit, but he still has been about a 327, 330 hitter since mid-April. And he catches every day, really shuts down the running game. So many things to like from Yadier.
You and I have agreed that Cliff Lee has something about him, Al, that makes his fastball sneaky, and maybe you can take a shot at explaining what it is about his ball that just seems to jump more so than other pitchers throwing the same velocity.
Well, if you watch him, he kind of gets side saddled to the home plate. He almost looks like he's staring into the first base dugout, and what that allows him to do is to really hide the ball behind his head, and hitters, it's a sneaky attack. Hitters do not pick up the ball until after he's released it. They don't see the release of it, and that's why his 92 is much harder than someone else's 96 or 97.
Nice play over the shoulder by Utley. 1-2-3 inning for Lee. On to the fifth. Cardinals trailing this one. Missouri Division of Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. We are looking at Johnson's Shut-In State Park in Middlebrook. Johnson's has been a favorite of many folks that love state parks, and they've had a number of visitors for many years. The park is a geological wonder, Al Roboski. Many people enjoying the beautiful day use area.
Oh, that is outstanding. I think it's called shut-in because you want to be shut in there. The rapids, beautiful, looking at the terrain of Missouri, which is so diverse. A geological wonder. I wonder if it's got some caves with stalactites and stalagmites. Which are which? One grows down, one grows up.
The tights are down, I think.
Well, I could have said that.
But I'm guessing.
I knew it was. We got a 50-50 chance.
Just like
you could be an umpire, yeah.
That's Whitey Herzog's favorite line.
That's why we steal it.
Top of the fifth, Loesch back to work. First pitch popped up into right center field. Brown is there, and Jay calls him off for out number one. And we should say that today is the 9th anniversary of the death of Daryl Kyle, which is obviously a very profound moment in Cardinal fans' memories of their favorite team and so many teammates, and such a hard time for Tony La Russa and his staff and the players and really everybody here at the ballpark. And he is still remembered here. That sign out in the right field bullpen where the Cardinals relievers are, Al, and I think it's important for us to remember how great a teammate he was and great a professional he was.
Earlier that week, it was a Monday night when we lost Jack Buck, and Kyle had pitched the Cardinals into first place that night. And over the weekend was when the tragic, late to the ballpark, a lot of calls and couldn't arouse him, and they finally had to have security check on him, and just a horrible moment. And I still can see Joe Girardi making that emotional speech where Joe was, very shaken up, like as both teams were, and they canceled that game.
Jason Simon-Tachi having to pitch that next day, and very tough situations. Ground ball to the right side, backhanded by Cosma. Nice play. He throws out Cliff Lee. 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Loesch. It'll be Brown, Descalzo, and Loesch when we come back. High, 3-0 Phillies. Our Home Depot doing more on defense is the Cardinals' second baseman, Pete Kozma.
Well, Pete Kozma, this is a similar player to the one that hurt Albert Pujols. It wasn't quite as tough, but you see he threw this one to the outfield side where the other one was in the infield side. And by no means am I making any reference to a bad throw or anything else. It was an outstanding play. It just happened that there was a collision, but it was not the fault of Pete Kozma.
Yeah, you and I were adamant about that. We felt the same way. And, you know, there have probably been 30 throws on the first base side that Albert's either handled or let go. And it's just unfortunate that the timing of the runner and the ball and Albert all coincided with Albert and his injury. And again, the bad news came the next day that Albert did have a fracture and is out 4 to 6 weeks. And, you know, Albert doesn't impress me as the kind of guy that wants to sit around and watch baseball games for 4 to 6 weeks without playing. It's going to be hard on him.
No, and the one thing he's got to remember too, that there is a non-displaced fracture, but you still have a solid time frame that you have to wait and let that heal.
Absolutely.
And you know, I know he feels like, well, I've got these great recuperative powers, and we hope that's the case, but you don't want to come back too soon and have it be a lingering issue.
Andrew Brown struck out. Brown, Descalzo, and Loesch here in the Cardinal fifth, trying to find some offense against Cliff Lee, who really looked like he was off a bit in that first inning, but he settled down just as we thought he might. 1-1 pitch. Good off-speed pitch.
When you saw the leadoff walk, you wondered about, hey, what about Jimmy Rollins? Was he correct? Give the Phillies starters 3 runs and they can win? What do you think? 41-10. I think he's pretty accurate. And remember, they had to deal with a lot of injuries early in the season too. But every day, Charlie Manuel and Rich Doobie, they throw a starter out there that not only can they expect a quality start, but they can expect a possible shutout.
Interesting that Charlie Manuel is lobbying for a big power right-handed batter. He wants another one. You think about some of the guys that have filled that role in the past for them, Pat Pearl, Jason Worth. He just wants another guy just like that. I get a little greedy there, isn't he?
Well, you remember a couple of years ago when they won the World Series? I remember when Charlie came in and he had some pitching problems at the time, and I said, what do you think, Charlie? And he goes, oh, man, I just don't think we have enough starting pitching. Well, Ruben Amaro Jr. has given him the starting pitching now.
I'll say.
But that starting pitching was good enough to win the World Series. And right now, I think going into this year, they were everybody's favorite. And these guys have not disappointed the Philly fans.
2-2 to Andrew Brown. And he is caught looking for the second time on a fastball on the inside corner. Out number 1. Time for our AT&T trivia question. What pitcher has the most career wins with the Phillies against the Cardinals all time? And I bet you know this one, Al.
Steve Carlton.
You know it now.
I do know that. I wasn't paying attention to you, Ricky, but I saw Lefty on Sunday, and
you did.
You know, I played my first year. I played with Lefty for a little bit.
Ground ball to the left side. There's the armor of Jimmy Rollins.
And it was one day Red Chaney's called me Lefty, and Steve Carlton said, "Hey kid, that's pretty good, man." It took him a year and a half to call me that.
But he was really the kind of the consummate lefty, though, don't you think?
Oh, he did. You know,
I mean, when you say lefty, what pitcher do you think of? I mean, Lefty Grove and Steve Carlton.
Right. But I mean, Steve Carlton just had that nasty going in slider to right-handed batters. And once they started laying off that pitch and wouldn't swing at it, is when his Hall of Fame career started dwindling. You know, he was way up there in age too.
Think about the year he had with the Phillies, with a club that barely won. I think they won 57 games, something like that. He was a big winner. Maybe won half their team's games.
I think it was roughly more. I think it was a little bit more.
And that's unbelievable.
And
ground ball to the right side. 3 up, 3 down for the Cardinals. On to the top of the 6th. From the Champions Club on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. They've changed the game, located at Lumiere Place Casino and Hotel. By Jack in the Box, where right now you can get the new bourbon barbecue steak grilled sandwich at participating restaurants. And by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. First pitch, grounded back to Loesch, out number 1. Simple as that. Down is Jimmy Rollins for the first time. He homered in the 4th inning to start the scoring, and then Ryan Howard later in the inning, a 2-run shot, 3-0 Phillies. I have to say Loesch has been okay, Al. Maybe not dominating, but decent. Just a couple of bad pitches.
Yeah, I mean, 2 home run pitches. He had a few hits in that inning. And that's pretty much been his MO this year. You know, 1 inning, but for the most part, he's survived those 1 innings and got victories.
Very important for the Cardinals starting pitching to get deep in the games. Facing Victorino, bounced out twice.
Kyle's lived up to his end of the bargain. I mean, he has been very good. He's thrown 6 or more innings in 12 of his 14 starts with 9 quality starts.
Fly ball to center. Out number 2. Visit the Busch Bash prior to every Friday home game in Ford Plaza for live music and player appearances throughout the season. June 24th will feature Kerry Robinson. For details and future player appearances, visit cardinals.com/promotions. A lot of things happening here at the ballpark. The Busch Bash. Fred Bird's always roaming around somewhere, and there's always action in the Champions Club, and that's where our broadcast is coming to you from tonight.
And we want to wish a happy 21st birthday to Kathy Bono. She's celebrating here in the Champions Club her 21st birthday. Big Cardinal fan, and now she can really celebrate in the Champions Club.
I get your drift, Al. Well, it's certainly a festive atmosphere up here, and would be made more festive if the Cardinals can get some runs on the board. They trail by 3. Loesch working to Utley. This ball hit to left. A few steps back is Matt Holliday. 3 up, 3 down. 7 straight for Loesch. Cosma, then the top of the order when we come back. Brought to you by Budweiser. Series finale tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. It's Roy Oswalt, former Astro. He's 4-5, and Chris Carpenter looking for his second victory. That is going to be a great matchup right here on Fox Sports Midwest.
All these matchups have been very good, but Kyle McClellan actually outpitched Roy Halladay. Phillies win with the big 9-run 8th inning against the bullpen. Kyle has to be very happy with that. Kyle Loesch has pitched well tonight, but Cliff Lee obviously much better in the 3-0 score. And Oswalt has always pitched well against the Cardinals, but just that little, not around a 500 career mark, but still with an ERA in the low 3s against the Cardinals.
Pete Kozma leads it off, fouls that one off, and you think, Al, about missing Albert Pujols. Do you miss Albert Pujols? Of course, he's the best player on the planet. I'm not sure you can judge the offense of the Cardinals without him just by looking at what they do against Halladay and Lee. I think we're going to have to look at it over a bigger sample size, because these guys can be tough against anybody.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Cardinals have had a couple stints. Pujols been on a couple stints of disabled lists, and they played right around 500 baseball, and we take that. But it'll be a lot longer this time.
Absolutely. Sunday, June 26th, fans ages 15 and under will receive a Cardinals duffel bag with paid admission. Perfect for toting your sports equipment from game to game. This bag is brought to you by the compliments of Powerade and Shop and Save. Ball hit into center field. Victorino is on his horse and makes the play.
Well, not only can the Phillies pitch, and they have a very good offense, but they have the best defense in the National League. That all comes together.
This summer, Fox Sports Midwest has joined with the Mission Continues for a series of community service projects organized and led by U.S. military veterans. You can help by volunteering to join Al Raboski on Saturday, June 25th. We're going to head to Hannibal to improve the Eugene Field Elementary School's baseball field. Please go online at missioncontinues.org and donate or volunteer a couple of hours of your time to help. And Al, I know that's very meaningful work for you, and you get a chance to work with veterans who are finding real meaning in service.
One of the tough things for these young men and women is integrating back into the private sector, and so Mission Continues really gives them a tremendous outlet to still feel like they're doing something in a very positive way, but just the fellowship that they have and doing these civic progress has been very helpful to many of them. Had a young sergeant who suffered a brain injury in Iraq and basically couldn't remember the first 20 years of his life, and because of Mission Continue, now all of a sudden he's functioning again and picking up his life instead of thinking it's over. He's moving forward.
Pop-up is handled by Polanco. Dan McLaughlin will be back for the 7th. Cardinals trail 3-0.
To you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip. No envelope with Bank of America, member FDIC. And by AT&T. Dan McLaughlin, Al Raboski with you for 7, 8, and 9 here from the Champions Club. And here is Ryan Howard. Howard with a big 2-run homer back in the 4th inning. And he hits it into right field for a base hit. Good to see you, partner. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, what's your name?
Haven't seen you in weeks, Al. Seen you on the postgame show. Our carsoup.com email the booth question comes from Elizabeth in Utah. Hey, guys, I can see the Champions Club looks great. Are there any other places like this in the park? And there are. A lot of the private suites are very much like this.
Suites or the Bank of America Club, but maybe it's worth telling everybody how they created this. You know, where people wanted a stadium club like there was in the old stadium, so they took about 10 suites and knocked out the walls and made it one great big party room.
Yeah, and it's a great place, and had a chance to mingle with some of the fans as you did, and now Rick is. And a lot of time we run into the first timers here at the Champions Club, and they are just amazed by what is offered and a unique baseball experience as we get a look at Polanco. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. This game is just flying right now.
Well, you know, yesterday flew along too. Until
that 8th inning wasn't pretty, was it?
Oh, I told Charlie Emanuel, I said, Charlie, you even got tired of seeing runs scored. He goes, no, not
never,
mine.
Never.
He goes, I never get tired of seeing my guys score.
And Polanco spoils that pitch and hits it out of play. And I was saying this earlier, Al, good to see that Placido is okay and well enough to play tonight. Really scary for the Phillies where he was hit last night.
Well, still, he is one of our favorites and Tony's favorite. He and Albert were extremely close when they played here, and I talked to Polanco today, and you know, went up and got a big hug and told him, you know, I was worried about him, and he said, I'm okay. But he's a gamer, boy.
He really is.
And he's putting up some pretty good numbers over the years and always comes ready to play.
Very important spot in this lineup, too, hitting behind Ryan Howard, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. 3-0 Phillies. If you just joined us, they picked up 3 runs back in the 4th inning. Pair of home runs here tonight, one by Rollins and the other a 2-run shot by Ryan Howard. That man right there, the Lafayette High School grad.
It is interesting to see him hitting behind Howard. Of course, Jason Worth, you know, had that spot for many years, and Dominic Brown is
3-2, and that is a double play. Hit the second and the line out. Cosma quickly, like a turn at second base on a double play, got it over to first for the double play.
Cosma's holding his ground. As we said, a natural shortstop, former Cardinal #1 draft pick, a high school pick, so really is here for his defense, and more importantly, and with Punto out, his ability to back up Terrio by getting a chance. You know, with Tony, you're going to be playing several different positions, and he's not embarrassing himself defensively at all.
Nick Punto went 3 for 4 in a rehab assignment at Springfield last night. David Freese went 1 for 3 at Memphis with a double. It's lined into the seats, not too far away from us.
Adron Chambers hit 2 home runs in that game last night for Memphis.
Intriguing, isn't he?
And Savanoa had a big game, but Chambers has got phenomenal physical talent, but very, very green. But it's a really very bright young man that just really has a little passion for the game.
There's a fly ball right center. John Jay is there, and it's time to stretch. Big bats coming up for St. Louis. 3-0 Phillies. History is brought to you by Schnucks. Cards come back from an 8-1 deficit. You might remember this play coming up by Barry Bonds. Sean Dunston, 6 RBIs on the day. Bonds thought he had it, and he helped it right over the fence. The bugs were out, the moths. This is back in 2000, and a dramatic win for the Cardinals. Walk-off single by Craig Paquette.
You see that replay of Barry Bonds, and it's not indicative of how good of an outfielder he was.
He was awesome at first.
And when he first came up, he really took a lot of pride in. He felt he could control a game or intimidate people with his defensive play.
People in Pittsburgh still frustrated by his throw that allowed the Atlanta Braves to head to a World Series. Sid Bream scoring that winning run. Holiday did not like that call. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's grounded into a double play. He's also flied out to right. And after a shaky start initially for Cliff Lee in that first inning, Al, he's really settled in.
Not uncharacteristic, and really almost maybe a trademark of some of the best. That first inning, they want to make sure they don't leave anything in the bullpen, or because they're anticipating going very deep into a ball game. They kind of, the first inning is sometimes their toughest inning, and so they're really kind of trying to spare themselves and make the adjustment. So that a lot of times you have good ones, you can get to them early in a game.
Here's a 2-2 pitch, and Holiday fights it off. Rick was talking about Cliff Lee being sneaky fast, and we may have seen that on that last pitch.
Well, we talked about a little bit that he kind of lines up like he's going to first base, and what that allows is the hitter does not get a clear view of the release point. So it's sneaky fast. It gets on you.
There's Polanco to his left at a good play. 16 down to 8. The 8 greatest moments in All-Star Game history are going head-to-head to determine which is the most memorable of all time. Go to MLB.com/moments and vote now for your favorite Midsummer Classics. And you can see the All-Star Game on Fox on July 12th.
Ball sneaks up on you before you can really, it's released his hand. It's approaching the plate before you pick it up. So his 92 looks more like 96, 97. A guy that shows you the release point, his 97 may look like it's 90. And then he's got the complementary of the off-speed pitches to, and very good command of those. I think it's fair to say that he has very good control. Holiday has good control, but has better command.
Pitch count only at 86 tonight for Cliff Lee.
And I'm sure all these Phillies starters with an old school guy like Charlie Manuel they aren't so worried about pitch counts.
Kyle Loesch, by the way, is through 7. His pitch count at 81. And really, Al, with Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay, those are 2 of the guys that I guess you want to say are old school. They finish what they start more times than not.
They're just great competitors, great pitchers. They don't beat themselves. Halladay has that ability that, not that he often pitches behind the count, but if he does, he has the ability to get even or put you away. He can come back from a 3-0 count. You look at, Cliff Lee kind of has the ability that he doesn't get too many 3-0 counts.
Umpire takes one now in the left hand. Earlier tonight it was in the right hand. Home plate umpire is Marty Foster.
You can imagine too, when you have such a talented starting staff, and the Cardinal starters do the same thing, but they kind of feed off of each other, have that friendly competition. One guy pitches a great game, and it kind of challenges the next guy to do the same or better it.
Kyle McClellan last night, second from the right, went toe-to-toe with Roy Halladay, and basically 6 outs away from being a winner.
Maybe a day where the pitcher batting eighth really backfired.
Yes.
A couple scoring opportunities, and that Kyle didn't come through with 2 outs. Halladay, Doc was able to get him out, and then they eventually pinch hit for him because his spot came up.
Right. Now, what was your thoughts as we get a look at a 3-2 pitch here to Berkman? Batista being released. I'm sure you'll talk about it on the postgame show, but just in general, your thoughts on that move?
I'm trying to cleverly or protectively state this, but I think it's sometimes there's 40 years old and guys get a little old overnight.
There's a base hit out to left. Rolls to the track, and Berkman on his way to second base. Francisco trying to come up with it. Very tough play on a rocket hit by Lance Berkman. Came up just a bit short.
Well, that's it. Lance Berkman just rifles this, catches it cleanly, just a line drive out there sinking. And Francisco tries to really backhand it, dive and slide, and could have played it more conservatively and kept it to a single. But as a pitcher, you appreciate somebody that would probably go that little extra effort to try and catch it. But he really had no chance of catching that ball, so he should have just laid back on it, played the single, and kept Berkman at first base. Batista, to me, he's got to throw strikes. And if he doesn't throw strikes, then you just can't have him here. So he was the victim. There's several guys that could fall in that same category, but being 40 years of age, maybe go a little younger.
Bottom line is, last night, as painful as it was, Mott hit a couple of hitters, but when Batista came in and could not find the strike zone, it wasn't even close. That was tough to watch.
There's a lot of things that were tough to watch that inning, but that was one of them.
We're not ranking those in order of importance. It wasn't pretty.
And for 43 minutes and I think 26 seconds, sheer agony.
Yes.
64 pitches, I think like 28 were strikes that inning. Batista wasn't the only one guilty, but I must say this. Every one of those guys were trying to do their best. In their mind, they were prepared to go out there and do the job. If you pitch long enough in this game, everyone's going to have that type of outing. You just hope they don't happen on a weekly basis.
Which for Batista was a little bit too often this year.
Yes, and remember the bullpen last week in Washington had a 6-run 6th inning where there was only 2 hits in that inning. So a lot of hit batters and walks in that one also.
Sure. Ryan Howard, 2-run homer to put Philly up 3-0 in the top of the 4th. And Ryan Howard, 9 home runs, 34 ribbies now in 25 games here at Busch Stadium. I think it's safe to say he likes to come home.
And he's reached base, I think, in every game he's played here except for one. And that was earlier this year.
Right.
But, I mean, he's just been a phenomenal hitter here. And as we saw, whether it's launching the ball to right field, hitting the ball to left field like he did tonight, he sprays it around and just attacks the baseball. And he's got an on-base percentage over 500 against the Cardinals.
It was 8 at-bats he had in the previous series as Molina grounds it to his buddy Polanco and did not reach base with a hit. They talk about Ryan Howard, but Cardinals last night hit him at one point. He had a base hit, and tonight picked up the opposite field home run. The big man at first base, Ryan Howard. Good question right now is with Pujols out, who very well could have been voted in as a starter in the National League. Who will be your National League first baseman? And there's some good choices out there right now. Man, oh man.
Well, they're such good choices that I don't think the National League manager is going to be complaining too much.
Pretty
he
good
would sure
bats.
love to have Albert, but and Albert would love to be there, but
Adrian Gonzalez, who was always mentioned with Pujols and fielder for the National
Votto?
League.
Votto.
Joey Votto is another guy that comes to mind. Polanco gets it on the short hop, and Cliff Lee is through 7. Phillies here in game 2. They have a lead of 3 runs as we head to the 8th. Cliff Lee and Kyle Loesch, Al.
Well, you can see the called strikes. You have 16, giving an idea of how he can hit his corners. You have 11 for Kyle Loesch. The real difference is the foul balls. You know, at 23-14 right there. Swing and misses. Of course, you got Cliff Lee, more of a strikeout pitcher than Kyle Loesch, pitching the contact. So more of his pitches will be put into play. And really the higher total of pitches thrown. They're both throwing a lot of strikes, but the difference was those foul pitches the Cardinals haven't been able to put in play. They've gotten Cliff Lee's pitch count up a little bit higher.
Here's Dominic Brown.
Brown, the young man that kind of freed the spot for Jason Ward. And then he fractured his hand in spring training.
Shallow left field, called off, and making the catch, Ryan Theriot. The Cardinals want to wish the DePriest family well wishes right now, and their condolences in the passing of Caleb DePriest, who was a huge Cardinal fan and will be sorely missed. He passed away over the weekend, and our thoughts and prayers are with the DePriest family.
How about the night Ruiz had last night?
4 hits, 4 for 4, career high for him.
Also had a walk with an RBI. He probably doesn't get the attention he should as a outstanding catcher.
The Phillies start play tonight with a lead of 4.5 in front of Atlanta, 9.5 in front of Washington. And how about Jack McKeon? Can he somehow, some way get the Marlins back in the race at the age of 80 and 13 games out? There's a base hit to right field for Carlos Ruiz.
Well, let me just say, he may not get them back in the race, but they will know who's in charge. And Hanley Ramirez found that out after game 1. But Jack McKeon can relate to young players.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Fans down the left field line awfully excited about our read of the disclaimer. They get pumped.
They're doing. It sounded like they were doing the wave. They were so excited with your.
Can you blame them, Al?
Oh, no, I can't. You know, I mean,
I've missed you, Al. How are you?
You know what? Well, as sick as usual, but but you know, it was kind of like. I think after they heard you chastise Jim Hayes last night, that they got inspired. You know, they didn't want to make a mistake.
Al, you have to pump it up.
That's right. He was just mailing it in.
He just licked the stamp and mailed it right in, didn't he?
Yeah. One final.
The fans agree.
Yeah, see, they're right on cue.
Two balls and no strikes to Cliff Lee. You'll be with Jim Hayes on the postgame show.
If I live that long.
Two and one. Al, I don't know if you knew this, but the postgame show usually is directly right after the game, and you seem to be in fine health, and I think you'll be fine. You look great.
If I can get out of this booth.
You're sandwiched in here. Is what
sandwiched in.
Scalzo playing in and a 2-1 pitch. Lee swinging away. How about a double play? Out at second. Double play. Tonight, Cliff Lee and Kyle Loesch, and it's a 3-0 lead for the Philadelphia Phillies. Highest average attendance this year. Phillies, Yankees, San Francisco coming off a world championship. Minnesota, second year in their new ballpark. The Angels in that huge city of Los Angeles, and then the Cardinals at 37.5. And much of that is due to the fact that the Cardinals are competitive year in and year out, but this year the Cardinals are the second major league team to use dynamic pricing, the other being San Francisco. They did that a year ago, and fans really have taken to that, Al. As a matter of fact, tomorrow night, $20 field box level seats, $20 for some of the best seats in the house, those field box level seats, and also terrace level seats at $9. I know a lot of people have asked about dynamic pricing. Best way to find out if you don't hear about it during the telecast is just go to Cardinals.com and you can click on that and it'll tell you all the different values, and it changes daily.
And what an outstanding pitching matchup like tonight. We're getting Oswald and Carpenter, one of the best teams. Tony Cruz is going to hit.
Line for Cliff Lee at 99 pitches, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk. That was the first man that he saw in the game on 4 pitches, Ryan Theriot. And he saw the strikeouts as well.
This hitting for Descalzo. Of course, Tony Cruz, a converted infielder. He plays catcher now, but he can go play third base.
We've seen him do that.
Right. And we have Hamilton on deck. Very, very inexperienced bench for the Cardinals.
Very, very good outing for Kyle Loesch.
Very good outing for Kyle Loesch. So hopefully this inning, maybe they can put a little charge into a few and get him off the hook. Maybe give him a win.
A liner that is caught. Ryan Howard makes the catch. Kind of lost in the game last night was the pinch hit. It wound up being a very big one at the time by Mark Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton was 0 for 18 as you see the line drive from Cruz. It really didn't hit or average at all at AAA with Gerald Laird out. Cruz got the call up to be the backup catcher. And Hamilton is going to get some playing time. You know, he has good power. He really hasn't shown the ability to hit, you know, once every 5 or 6 days as a pinch hitter. So they're going to see what he can do in the absence of Albert Pujols, giving him a few games to start, but obviously it should be against a right-handed pitcher.
Pete Kozma with 2 outs and nobody on. Cardinals with a total of 4 base hits. The Phillies with 7. Right-hander getting loose for the Cardinals in the pen.
Boggs, where was he last night?
Yeah, a lot of fans were wondering about that. We were talking to some of those before the game, and they were asking both of us about Mitchell Boggs. Since his recall, he's been effective out of the bullpen.
Oh, in my mind, he never deserved to go down. And, you know, he went from being a setup man to the closer, blew 1 save, then was banished to nowhere and sent to the minor leagues to start, which I don't have any problem because you're getting more innings that way. You're getting, you know, more pitching time. That's where you learn. But he's not going to be a starter at this level. He's going to be an effective reliever and has the ability to be a potential closer down the road.
Well, the Cardinals right now are really hurt out. We talked about it from the beginning of the season. Last night reared its ugly head, but not having a 8th inning man where Kyle McClellan was that guy, and then Eduardo Sanchez kind of took over that role, and with him being injured, it really has affected this club. And
you know, Salas is going to be fine. You know, he appears to be the closer right now. Nice line drive base hit, Kozma. But as you said, and the worst thing the Cardinals could do right now is to move Kyle McClellan out of that rotation and put him back in the 8th spot and say take a Lance Lynn who got promoted and have him start. I'll take my chance with you just leave Kyle McClellan in that rotation.
Don't you think at this point, Al, as many times that they said to him in spring training, hey, get ready as a starter. You might be that guy. It might happen. And now it finally has happened. You just leave him alone.
Absolutely. You know, and it's where he wants to be. He's proven that he can handle that job and do it very, very well. Now, if he would fail, but all along, and it just increases his value and shows how valuable he is. Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan always said, you know, we're going to move him into the rotation, but we question, can we fill his innings out of the bullpen? But he's done such a good job as a starter. Do not mess with him at all.
Here is Ryan Theriot back to the top of the lineup. Here we are, 8th inning. Can the Cardinals do what the Phillies did last night? They'll have to do it against one of the best in Cliff Lee. I don't think anybody in baseball expected Cliff Lee to re-sign with the Phillies. I mean, that really
came out of nowhere.
Nowhere. You didn't even hear a rumor that it might be something that they're looking at.
Right. Well, remember, it's like, you know, it's like Jimmy Rollins. A lot of guys were upset, and you see the pitch count, 109 and 7th inning. The only time he really got in a little trouble with 121 pitches. But when they traded him to Seattle, you know, it's like you would thought that, you know, a lot of people were critical, like, why'd you do that? You know, he still had a year in his contract. But they knew his value, and a surprise, they got him back once he became a free agent. Now, they paid a lot of money.
And now the Phillies, a good example of moving into a new ballpark, reaping the benefits of their revenue. And at that time, they built their team to win. And that happened. Deflected by Lee and over to first. And we head to the 9th. Phillies with the lead of 3-0. Home runs here tonight, the difference in this game, and our Nissan drives of the game. First by the switch hitting Jimmy Rollins. That was his 7th, and then Ryan Howard. How many times have we seen that? Especially at Citizens Bank Park. Little flick of the wrist. He's got great power and bat speed and takes it to the opposite field. Our Nissan drive of the game. Now our call to the bullpen brought to you by Chevy, and here is Mitchell Boggs.
Mentioned Mitchell Boggs at one point this season was the closer. He had 3 saves, and then he blew a save and then kind of got banished. But he's done a very good job. Almost a strikeout per inning. So he allowed 2 home runs. He can throw very hard and really has a heavy baseball, a tremendous sinking action, and can throw that pitch at a high velocity. And he's got decent breaking stuff.
Here is Jimmy Rollins to lead it off. So the top of the lineup. Good test here for Boggs. That pitch at 97.
97 was sinking action.
While we have a moment, want to thank Kevin Landy and Alan Flowers, and in particular our crew that had to set this all up. They break it all down tonight. They'll set it up in the booth tomorrow. Not easy. And they do a lot of work. They got here early, Al, and we can't thank them enough for all the hard work that they did.
Yeah, and it's really, you know, we come in here and just take it all for granted, but there's an awful lot of hard work that the guys do, and every day they work extremely hard, the best working crew in all of baseball, and we appreciate their efforts. They make us look good.
Even Garcia. And that might be a stretch.
You know what? I haven't worked for about a month or so. So
you miss Garcia.
I really have become. I have really, you know, I'm not doing that. Somebody else is doing it, but this is my buddy. What's your name?
Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Yeah.
I had to ask what Dan's name was too. So
1 ball, 1 strike here on Shane Victorino. But in all seriousness, thanks guys and gals for what you have done and putting together another great telecast here from the Champions Club, and a chance to show off what this club is all about for the fans throughout the Midwest. A lot of hard work. Longest active hitting streaks against the Cardinals. Ramirez of the Cubs at 27, Victorino at 15. And that is a base hit, fair. And Victorino can really run on his way to second. He'll try for 3, and he'll be in there. Mitchell Boggs backing up. A throw that was wide. Also, you saw Holiday hustling all the way. This is right in front of us, all the way from left field to back that play up near the dugout by the Phillies, too.
It never hurts to hustle. And Berkman playing off the line, pulls the ball.
Now this guy, and I know you watch a lot of teams and games out of market. You never see a play where this guy doesn't hustle. Defense, offense, doesn't matter.
Flying Hawaiian, but you know, here's a Rule 5 pickup.
That's right.
Phillies really have 3 Rule 5 pickups on their ball club right now, and that really handicaps the team. But Victorino he's a keeper, and I'm sure Hansen and I think it's Valdez the other one. But anyway, they're Phillies who have very good scouts, and then Charlie Manuel's one of those guys. Hey, I'll take that guy and I'll kind of work him in here and there. And Ugla is one of those Rule 5 guys that have been an impact type player, even though he's struggling this year. His numbers over the years have been outstanding.
Utley with a fly ball. Here's Holiday in a position to throw. He makes the catch. Victorino will tag up, and he will score. Four 4-0 Phillies as we play here in the top of the ninth. Utley picks up the RBI, his 16th this year.
How you try and get your momentum coming forward, and a good effort, throws offline, but you're not going to throw out Victorino. Ryan Franklin is warming up in the Cardinal bullpen.
They say on every play there's a position for a player on the field. How about for the umpire, the second base umpire going out?
Well, you know, I mean, when you think about it, you know, a lot of times you see rotations and it's common sense. You know, the third base umpire has to stay at the bag. He traditionally would be the guy that would go out for the corner outfield or for left field, but he's got to stay and make sure the guy tags up. So the next closest would be the second baseman to determine whether a guy traps the ball, or in this case it kind of looked like a routine fly ball,
but you never know.
But you never know, and once again, when you hustle, you never embarrass yourself and you stand out. So my compliments to a hustling umpire.
Swing and a miss, and Boggs picks up the strikeout, and we head to the bottom of the ninth. the Cat Missouri Lottery. Cardinals Live. You'll hear from Tony La Russa. They'll go inside the Cardinals clubhouse. Missouri Lottery. Cardinals Live coming up next. So we went to break. It started to rain here at Busch Stadium. 4 career starts against the Cardinals. 1.53 ERA as John Jay looks at a strike. The Phillies 3 outs away from winning this series and sending Roy Oswalt out tomorrow night looking for the potential sweep at Polanco. Knocks it down, stays with it, makes the play.
You know, Cliff Lee's been so dominant against the Cardinals in his career. Not that many games, but he's never allowed more than 3 runs.
Cliff Lee is our player of the game, presented by Budweiser.
And we talked about Cliff Lee, you know, that pitch count really doesn't mean anything. He's at 112 and dominant pitching. 5 hit shutout through 8 innings.
This would be back-to-back games, Al, in which he has gone the distance if he finishes this one. His 3rd overall this year, going 9 innings.
He has just been outstanding, and he's had a little trouble on the road, but you know, he's really pitched extremely well at home, and since the Cardinals beat him earlier this year, he has just been a constant professional and just going deep into games and winning them.
Also, 3 separate times he's at least gone 8 innings.
He's won 5 of his last 6 starts. He's allowed 1 earned run over his last 24 innings coming in.
And a grounder to second. 2 away. Just a tough night all around for this Cardinals offense. Cliff Lee, 5 hits allowed, no runs, and the final hope now is Lance Berkman.
And now Cliff Lee in his career has thrown 30 innings against the Cardinals. And with what, the 5 hits tonight, 23 hits during those 30 innings. He's only allowed 5 runs. Trying to run his record to 3-1. ERA would be, you know, 2 at the most for those 30 innings. Came in at 211.
Saw him pitch last year with Seattle, then eventually wound up with the Rangers, now back with the Phillies. Saw him when he was in St. Louis in interleague play.
Well, the Rangers wanted to retain him. Looked like he was possibly going to the Yankees, and then out of nowhere, like you said, he signs with Philadelphia.
Pitch count at 120. I think you're right, Al. It's just not really that big a deal with guys like Lee and Halladay and some of the others. And Charlie Manuel, he's going to leave you in there.
It's a mindset. And you just sit there and you condition yourself. There's 2 more of those starters that, you know, Halladay kind of sets the stage. He threw last night. Halladay had his 62nd consecutive road start of going at least 6 innings. So, I mean, these guys just, you know, it's second nature. They just expect to go deep into a ball game.
Berkman extends the ball game with a base hit into left center.
Multi-hit game for Lance. Good to see him. And so much more productive this year, right-handed, than we've seen the last couple of years. Still a better left-handed hitter, but, you know, not to the point where you have to take him out against a lefty.
Now Yadier Molina, who is 1 for 3, singled back in the 2nd inning. Play behind the runner at first. That's Berkman. Second game without Albert Pujols. And the offense tonight non-existent for the most part, but really not fair because you're facing Halladay, Lee, and then tomorrow you get Oswald. Pretty tough.
Yeah, it's and not to say Albert was going to go out there and have a monster game. Don't know what his numbers were because he's not on the active roster, so I don't have what his stats are against Lee, but I wouldn't think there's something that would knock your socks off.
0-2 on Yadier Molina.
Albert's 1 for 8 off of Cliff Lee, so it's just an outstanding pitcher that can make it tough on every hitter.
Ooh, he just missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
They got a lefty and a righty warming up. You wouldn't want to go too far with him, but they will allow him Molina, possibly Brown, and then you would think about taking him out. But also, Charlie's going, the game will be over.
On 1-2, Molina, ground ball to Rollins. He'll step on the bag, and the Phillies have taken the first 2. 4-0 shutout tonight for Cliff Lee.
Well, like you said, it's not really fair. It was one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, a former Cy Young Award winner. Cardinals just didn't get a lot of offense, but there was an outstanding effort by Cliff Lee and the Phillies.
So good night from the Champions Club. We had an incredible time up here visiting with all the fans, and thanks for being with us tonight. Post-game show is coming up next.